Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of the Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Inner Banks fishing report with Captain Richard Andrews of Tar-Pam Guide Service. How you doing, Richard?
I'm doing well, Marvin. How are you?
As always, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble, and we were talking before we started recording, and you've gotten your first big shot of cold weather, and the red drum have left the neighborhood.
Yeah, we were catching a few last week, and it's just got spottier and spottier, and the folks over across the sound from us are starting to really see some huge numbers of fish coming through the inlet, so that's usually our sign that our giant red drum season has come to an end.
Yeah, so now it's kind of back to your summertime pattern, right?
Yeah, we'll go back to, speckled trout and smaller redfish out in the sound side bays and lower river shorelines, which is where we fish in the summer. And we'll be doing that until about early mid-November. Usually we get a few big frosts that time of year, and the water temperature will drop down into the 50s. And usually that's another transition for us in the fall when the fish seem to want to migrate out of those areas up the rivers and into the creeks. And they're also fishing the creeks right now. Guys are catching trout in some of our creeks. But usually we spend most of the month of October, late September, October, first half of November down in those areas I was describing earlier.
Yeah, and so that probably means like intermediate sinking lines and maybe some floating stuff if it's really shallow, fishing streamers and probably some shrimp patterns and stuff like that.
Exactly, some top water as well as subsurface flies on intermediate lines. Yep, kind of the same stuff we do in the summertime. We don't do as much deep water fishing in the fall. Usually, we're fishing water in the 2 to 6 foot range, and fishing points and with current and deeper shorelines, and sometimes some grass flats, things like that.
Got it. And as the water cools off, do you have to kind of, change your retrieve and your presentation to, does the bite slow down so you have to be a little bit more deliberate, or is it kind of the same game that you were playing in the summer?
Not so much in the fall until it gets cold. I mean, when that water temperature gets down in the low 50s and sometimes it'll dip into the 40s, that's when things change a lot, especially with the trout. The trout become a lot slower. Having something that you can twitch and then just sit right in front of their face for a few seconds, that's always the better way to catch them. So the fly game really does play well into the winter trout strategy for us. Now, I don't do a lot of winter trout fishing, but what I mean is cold water trout fishing.
Yeah, and I would imagine, too, if you're trying to hang flies, you're really kind of talking about stuff that's, kind of neutrally buoyant or kind of hangs like a game changer or something like that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, one of the most effective speckled trout lures in this area is a mirror lure, MR17, which looks like a menhaden. And it's a twitch bait that guys throw on their spinning rods, and they'll twitch and let it sit. And the colder it gets, usually the longer you have to let it sit, and the less aggressively you twitch it. So a lure, fly like a game changer that kind of darts side to side, and you cut through the water and it just sit there. That's a perfect speckled trout bait. Great trout bait around here.
Yeah, it's funny you saying that. Makes me think too about, I bet a zoo cougar would work pretty well too.
It would. A lot of the Gallup style flies would be perfect for our applications here. In fact, I do have some of those very flies in my box. That's the cool thing about fly fishing is how it kind of crosses lots of different boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's interesting. I mean, I think, everyone here kind of in the mid-Atlantic said fall is finally officially here. We're not going to have any more of these 90-degree days.
Yeah, that's right. It's here. We had a huge blow, big cold front come in this past Saturday night, which is our first real significant cold front of the fall. It's what the old-timers, the old salts of the coast call the mullet blow. And I guess that means that the mullet season, mullet fishing was really good back in the day when they would net fish a lot of them. They still do, but anyway, yeah, fall has started for us, and we're excited. We've got some. I got a report today from a friend who had done real well bass fishing in some of our coastal rivers using poppers, just epic bass fishing on a fly rod. He said there was just countless 2 to 3 pound bass he's catching on top water. So that's a fishery that not a lot of people know about in eastern North Carolina. Our coastal river, especially our lower rivers, are just teeming with largemouth bass. Some great bass fishing, especially up in the lower Roanoke River and the Albemarle Sound. But yeah, we got that. We got our striper fishing will pick up tremendously. It usually does in the October November time frame. And usually November December are 2 of the best months for striper fishing on the Pamlico.
Yeah, and I think for me, fall, particularly like late fall, early winter in eastern North Carolina is my favorite time, right? It makes me think about oyster roasts and pig pickings.
Absolutely. We love this time of year. This is definitely my favorite time of year to fish. I've seen the striper fishing just so good in November, December that it doesn't happen every year, but a lot of times the birds will get going out in the middle of the river, in the deep part of the river. And the stripers will just be balling bait out there, pushing the bait up, and there'll be birds sticking on top. And you could take I remember a few years ago, there was big schools of bay anchovies out there. It's kind of like what you see down at Cape Lookout during albacore season. The stripers had these bay anchovies and these giant bait balls, and they were cut so you could look down there and see the stripers going through the bait balls. Birds would be sticking on top, and all you needed to throw was just a little albie fly in there. And we were just wearing them out every cast, catching 100, 150 stripers a day on fly. It was great.
Yeah, there you go. That would be an absolutely awesome experience. And, folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email them to us or send them to us on our Facebook or Instagram page. And if we use your question, I'll send you some articulate fly swag. And we enter a drawing for a half-day charter with Richard at the end of the season. And, Richard, you've got that great new website. I checked it out. It looks really sharp. You want to let folks know where they can find you and learn more about your guide service and book you for a trip?
All the information you need about me is on my website at www.tarpamguide.com. Feel free to send me a text or shoot me an email, and we'll get you booked up.
Well, there you go. And like both of us said, fall is our favorite time to fish, and so you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Richard.
Tight lines, Marlon.